This episode is sponsored by Listrak. Listrak builds relationships, not only between their clients, but more importantly, between brands and their audiences. Its comprehensive data hub gives organizations 360-degree consumer insights that power sophisticated, relationship-building multi-channel campaigns that the Listrak team delivers every day. With Listrak as a partner, you get the collective knowledge and experience of marketing strategists and technology professionals who are passionate about helping you succeed. They understand the marketing challenges brands face and work hard to help you click with your customers.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to episode 112 of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Total Retail. Today I'm joined by Rick English, Manager of Web Analytics at Woolrich, an outdoor clothing company, as well as Paul Corey, Senior Account Manager at Listrak, a digital marketing automation platform. We're going to be discussing how Woolrich is leveraging automation as part of its digital marketing mix and how that will be impacting the company's plans for the upcoming holiday shopping season. Thanks for joining me, Rick and Paul.
Thanks for having us, Joe. This is Rick.
Thanks, Joe. This is Paul.
Yep, thanks, guys. So let's start with Woolrich. Maybe, Rick, you can give our audience just a quick overview of the brand. It's really synonymous with cold weather apparel. So we'll kind of take this in two parts. Just a quick overview of the brand, and then talk about the significance, as I mentioned in the intro, the upcoming holiday shopping season. As a cold weather apparel brand, probably one of the busiest times of the year for Woolrich, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's wool in our name, so wool shirts, outerwear, down parkas, wool blankets. We're really a cold weather brand, so this time of the year is really important. So last year, November, December was 55% of our annual online sales. Cyber Week alone was 12% of our sales.
Yeah, so you mentioned that kind of what you saw last year and some of the trends that emerged from the holiday season. How do you kind of take what you learned from last year and the consumer behavior that you saw and then apply that to this year's kind of external marketing efforts? Yeah,
definitely. So, we're really seeing people shopping earlier and buying later. So obviously the timing of our promotions, we focus on we call it Cyber Week. We start the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and go through Cyber Tuesday. And we've seen a huge increase year over year for the past couple of years during that time period. We've also seen a huge increase in mobile shopping, mobile revenue. Over half of our traffic now is on mobile devices. And, what we often see is the vast majority of our email opens are happening on mobile devices. And then people are showing multi-device shopping. So they're shopping on email, shopping on mobile devices, and then finishing the order on their computers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Are you finding some of those promotions then it's primarily email? Is it social? Is it your paid search kind of budget? What when you refer to kind of some of those channels that you're communicating with customers and prospects in, are those the major ones that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's interesting for us. Our history is actually as a catalog brand, so. And our catalogs still drive a lot of our revenue as well. But in terms of our web channels, for sure, email, organic search, we saw large gains in, and paid search. They're kind of our three big traffic generators.
And then looking ahead to this year's holiday season, what are the strategies and tools that Woolrich has put in place to capitalize on the trends that you saw last year?
Last year, we had a tendency to send a lot of email to almost everybody on our list. Just Cyber Week alone, we sent out 20 unique email newsletters. So in a 7-day period, we sent 20 emails. Not everybody got every email, but this year, we definitely, now that we're in our second year in Listrak, we have a lot more user data, both intent and product. So we're going to be using that to segment our sends a lot better. So, subscribers aren't going to feel like they're getting quite as many messages, but they're going to be a lot more targeted.
Yeah, that's what I was going to kind of hit on. So then you're working with Listrak to kind of leverage that data that you're collecting and able to promote more relevant, timely offers to your customers. So you're abandoning that almost batch and blast approach to more relevant, timely, personalized emails.
Yep, and this is Paul. So one thing that Rick and I have talked about before, and I think that is it's a bit unique of a strategy that Rick's been able to do here with Woolrich's email program, is that they have very specific subject lines that a lot of retailers are a little more vague when it comes to kind of defining what the purpose of the email is, almost to get a wider array of openers, whereas Woolrich has taken the opposite approach, and they're very specific with what products are going to be featured or what the promotion is, and that has a double benefit of increasing their conversion rates for the emails, but also giving them that year-over-year data. Rick can now go back and say, all right, somebody who opened a blankets email clearly showed some intent, some interest on that. We're going to primarily send to that group for this year's blankets email. So I thought that was an interesting strategy.
And then, Rick, maybe you want to talk a little bit, as Woolrich is a brand selling direct-to-consumer, what are some of the challenges? You also sell through wholesale retail partners as well. What are some of the challenges that come with selling via Woolrich's website? And you mentioned the catalogs as well, so that those kind of direct-to-consumer sales channels, what would be the challenges that occur?
Well, so the biggest one that most brands in our position have is what's called a MAP policy, which is a minimum advertised pricing policy. So we're actually not allowed to go on sale. We're not allowed to use dynamic pricing. We have a MSRP that we have to stick to the vast majority of the season. But what we are allowed to do is one-to-one offers. So, we're using Listrak for things like shopping cart abandonment, browse abandonment, which, allow us to offer promotions one-to-one while, still being within the guidelines of our MAP policy.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue into this next question I had around marketing automation, and you mentioned some of those trigger programs that you've put into place. Can you talk about sort of overall how Woolrich is leveraging automation as part of that digital mix?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I already mentioned shopping cart abandonment. We're pretty aggressive, so we also do what's called browse abandonment. So if you show shopping intent, even though you don't add a product to the cart, you'll still get an automated email series from us. We also have a modal subscription that pops open, and I kind of consider it magic. Maybe Paul could talk about the details of how that works.
Yeah, so for that kind of feeds into the automated emails, the pop-up box for new subscribers that are visiting Woolrich's site. They include an offer for anybody subscribing to the newsletter, so that really helps with their list growth. And then that coupon code is kind of delivered to the subscribers through the welcome series, their nurture series, so that helps to kind of convert those subscribers to first-time purchasers. So that's definitely a big piece of the marketing automation that we've seen for Woolrich and a lot of our clients.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys touched on that, because that question was coming up in my head. These triggered programs are great, the cart abandonment, the browse abandonment, but in order to have those in place, you need to have collected whether it's a customer or the prospect's email address. So maybe you want to touch a little bit more on what you're doing to acquire those emails to begin with, to build your list. Definitely.
So Listrak has a couple unique features built in that it's actually sniffing as people start the checkout process for their email address. So that's a big piece of it. Another is we end up doing a lot of co-branded sweepstakes with other brands, giveaways. Sending an offer out to our list, they send an offer out to their list. Subscribing to that sweepstakes, you end up subscribing to both lists.
And one other thing that I'll point out about Woolrich's automated email program is that, like Rick mentioned, they're using the browse abandonment campaign, so kind of sending emails to people based off of just products that they've looked at that haven't purchased, which seems to be an underutilized strategy for a lot of our clients, but we're seeing more and more of them start to do that. I think retailers get a little worried about maybe oversending to their subscribers, and so that's one reason why they might not run that program. But Woolrich has kind of set up some business rules in Listrak that ensure that somebody's not going to get their kind of full blast newsletter email that day if they've already gotten like a shopping cart abandonment or a browse abandonment email. So it does help to kind of control the frequency of emails that their subscribers are receiving.
Yeah, that's a great point, Paul, and brings a question up in my mind for you, Rick. Is this do you keep this automation program in place year round? Is it something you turn on in November and December when you see traffic really spike? What's the strategy there?
We keep it on all year because it helps increase our conversion rate. So, when somebody comes to the site, we obviously paid money to get them there, and the email automation programs help close the sale. So, it's very cost effective for increasing our conversion rate.
And then my final question is, you mentioned that Woolrich is selling via multiple channels. So I'm interested in how you're using that data that you're collecting about your customers to create these relevant, timely messages targeted to the right people. And maybe you want to use an example. It doesn't have to be holiday specific, but example of how you're kind of translating this data and using it to better personalize the shopping experience.
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, our history is as a catalog brand. So when you're a cataloger, you segment your audience list kind of to the nth degree. And we've actually been able to do that in Listrak with our email list as well. So one of the new exciting tactics we're really excited to work on this holiday season is using those email segments to create custom audiences and like the Facebook network and the Google network, and being able to retarget to those audiences based on their shopping history and based on their segments that we've already figured out in Listrak. And then, another thing it's a small thing, but it's actually a big deal during holiday. We see such a big spike during the holiday season that we start to reach the limits of our hosting environment. So Listrak has this great feature built in that actually spaces out the send based on the user's open activity. Like what time of day they open is the time of day that they get the email in their inbox. So it's automated, which is great. I can just check a box and it sends and goes.
Yeah, so it really is optimized for when they're most likely to be checking their email.
Exactly, and then that way we don't get huge usage spikes all at one time, sending the blast out all at once and hurting our web server.
Yep, exactly. Makes a lot of sense. Well, great. I want to take this opportunity to thank Rick English of Woolrich and Paul Corey of Listrak for joining me today. Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, but make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us on the next episode of Total Retail Talks.
Thanks for listening. For more information on Listrak, be sure to visit www.listrak.com.